Is the United States of America going to sell the Statue of Liberty in order to reclaim her copper? Did the big, beautiful bill sell off the glorious public lands of that nation? This is Nomadistan Investigates, and we have uncovered a secret treasure trove, a cornucopia of leaked documents. Their promises to do all of this and a lot more. It appears that once again, the great land baron of the West has himself personally tried to sell off the great wilderness and convert it into wealth. But don't pop those champagne corks quite yet, future timber barons of America, because while the big beautiful bill may have passed the checks and balances of the legislative branch, the public land fire sale didn't make the cut. I am Mirov, lead broadcaster for the Nomadistan People's News, and we have an investigation that promises to go deeper than the deepest minds proposed by Supreme Leader of the United States. In this broadcast, we will explore the backroom negotiations and the probable futures of this ongoing event to steal public land. Once again, the big beautiful land grab was axed at the last moment by a procedural twist of fate, but the tax cuts for the wealthy that the land grab was supposed to pay for stayed in. Because when you're running your country like a bankrupt casino, the first people you take care of are your high rollers. We take you now to our field reporter for more information on the incriminating memos that were found in a back office swamp. Nomadistan Investigates has come into possession of a completely unverifiable document from deep within the bowels of the United States Department of Liquidation. The document is simply titled Recreational Transitional Guidelines for Public Lands. It outlines the new rules, language, and procedure for what Americans can and cannot do, now prohibited. Hiking. All trails are now reserved for VIP helicopter landing zones and future asphalt paving initiatives. Camping. Sleeping outdoors implies poverty, and it violates U.S. economic optimism branding. Picnicking. All grass is currently under corporate review for turf licensing opportunities. The memo also describes new initiatives, new approvals for what citizens can do on former public lands. Open pit mining and oil baron-themed weddings are approved. We remind you that we cannot verify the authenticity of this document, but we can tell you that it feels entirely real, entirely plausible, and frankly, that's just a little bit more terrifying. Back to you, Mirov, in the studio. It turns out that the Recreational Guidelines Transition Memo was merely the tip of a bureaucratic iceberg. It appears that that memo was part of a larger trove uncovered by our investigative reporters. These documents threaten to privatize not just public land, but basically anything that's not nailed down. For more on the story, we go back to our field reporter, still out in the field. According to these memos, the new U.S. Department of Aquatic Reappropriation is set to privatize oceans, rivers, lakes, and puddles which have existed more than 72 hours. Why? Because water, like land, is simply not paying its fair share. Should this initiative pass the ironclad checks and balances of the legislative branch, citizens will no longer be able to boat, swim, or skip stones without prior approval. The document ends simply with, citizens may no longer own water. That's what LLCs are for. Back to you, Mirov, in the studio. And another unverified but entirely plausible manifesto-style document has surfaced. Its pages wrinkled, its font Comic Sans, but its contents truly horrifying. It was titled Project Air Monetization. Strangely, this didn't read like a policy memo. It was more like a fever dream by a hedge fund manager. It was a strange treatise on why public air is an outdated myth and how unlicensed respiration is economic theft. The document begins plainly. For too long, air has been treated as a communal resource, like parks, feelings, or public trust. This ideological relic has led to reckless overbreathing and gross undercapitalization. Back to our field reporter for more details. The document is a chilling outline of a future world where oxygen is considered intellectual property. Not a right, not a resource, but a subscription-based opportunity run by a company called Freedom Air, which we tracked down to a Cayman Islands post office box. It is apparently a corporate, recreational, military complex, industrial we lost track of how it was formed. They proposed that quotas be distributed based on net worth and documented patriotism. Indoor airflow would of course be geofenced and regulated. Open windows would be classified as unauthorized atmospheric borrowing. The manifesto also states, air that is blown into your home is no longer sovereign once it crosses the government's invisible frontier. All regulated air must be taxed because it has passed through public jurisdiction. Back to you in the studio. Wait, this just in, a final leaked document from the toxic treasure trove. It's simply labeled for the greater greed. We at Nomadistan Investigates believe that this might be the final document in the bigger, beautifuler bill compendium. It appears to be minutes from a planning session where no capitalization idea is too gross and no national resource too small to be capitalized upon. It proposes alterations to what it calls untapped national assets. Arlington National Cemetery is to be rebranded as Eternity Estates, luxury memorial housing in the nation's capital. Available in timeshare packages with VIP ghost tours. The Statue of Liberty is slated for deconstruction and resale, and all of its remaining copper will be transported after dark to the nearest unlicensed scrapyard for sale by the pound. And a futures market on children has also been proposed, a major new investment opportunity that will allow shareholders to invest in the future productivity of our school children. Because when you can't make new land for sale, you can always make new labor. To the citizens of the United States, we from the Nomadistan People's News, and indeed our glorious nation state, we send hope, we send air, and if you need it, we can send some international observers. I am Mirov, and this has been Nomadistan Investigates. Hi, I'm Rick, creator of the Nomadistan People's News, and I don't even know where to begin other than taking off this hot-ass hat. This whole thing started because of the big, beautiful bill and the power land grab, something which is actually very near and dear to my heart. Now, I'm so glad that whoever the pencil pusher checks and balances person who went, you may not put in. Thank you, whoever you are, for keeping our public lands public for a little while. But to the rest of you, the checks and balances, senators and congressmen who were supposed to, I don't know, protect us from the... You didn't do your job, now did you? Sorry. Zen, I'm getting a little worked up here. Now, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to record a little segment for the Lifestyle channel. And for those of you who don't know, I am a multiple YouTube channel kind of guy. There's a Lifestyle channel where I live in a school bus and travel around the world, and the public lands actually affects me very, very deeply. I think I want to share it more over there because I can tell you all about how I wrote it for Nomadistan. But honestly, the real life impact, I think will probably do it better. Link to the video is down below. The bottom line, my friends, is public lands, parks, forests, just desert that nobody else wants to claim. Any kind of land that belongs to us belongs to us. Government is merely the trustees, the keeper, our representatives. It is our land to do what we want to do. Recreation. You can't be making money 24/7. You need to get out and breathe in the trees sometime. And that land is where we do it. And I'll tell you what, me personally, I'll be damned if I let a whole bunch of rich idiots take it away from us just to pay for tax cuts for more rich idiots. Anyway, this has been the Nomadistan People's News. Thanks for watching.